The rescue team materialized at the edge of the ravine, just as the twin suns began their descent. Commander Xyloth's antennae twitched with anxiety as he surveyed the desolate landscape of Carvax Prime. 3 days had passed since Arya's distress beacon had flickered and died, and the search grid had finally pinpointed her last known coordinates to this forsaken sector. "Thermal signatures ahead," announced Velk, the team's tracker, his reptilian eyes narrowing at his scanner. Multiple life forms, one human, and 2 others. Xyloth's mandibles clicked nervously. The others. He knew what that meant. Carvax Prime was home to the Shadow Maw, apex predators that had decimated 3 colonial expeditions before the Galactic Council had declared the planet off-limits. Adults stood 3 meters tall, possessed reflexes that could track a plasma bolt mid-flight, and jaws that could crush starship hull plating. The notion that Arya had survived this long seemed impossible. "Weapons ready," Xyloth commanded, though his voice betrayed his doubt. "Approach with extreme caution." The team crept forward through the crystalline vegetation, each step calculated to minimize sound. The thermal readings led them to a cave entrance, partially concealed by fallen rock and twisted metal, remnants of Arya's crashed survey pod. The scanner indicated the signatures were just inside, stationary, too stationary. Velk raised his clawed hand, signaling a halt. Through the cave opening they could hear it, a low rumbling purr that resonated through the ground itself. The sound that every spacer who'd studied Carvax Prime learned to fear, the territorial call of a Shadow Maw. But there was something wrong with it. The rhythm was off, almost playful. Xyloth activated his helmet's low-light vision and peered into the darkness. What he saw made his 3 hearts skip in synchronization. Arya lay curled on her side atop a makeshift bed of torn fabric and moss, her pressure suit damaged but functional. Her breathing was deep and even. She was asleep. But that wasn't what froze Xyloth in place. Nestled against her were 2 Shadow Maw cubs. Kor, the larger of the 2, had his massive head resting on Arya's shoulder, one paw draped across her torso. His sibling Tavi was curled into a ball against Arya's stomach, her tail wrapped protectively around the human's arm. Both cubs' eyes were closed, their fearsome jaws slightly open in contentment, revealing rows of crystalline teeth that could shred duraplast. "By the void," Velk whispered. "They're sleeping," Xyloth finished, his voice barely audible. Together. The team stood frozen, weapons lowering instinctively. In all the documented encounters with Shadow Maws, not a single being had survived close contact with their young. The adults were ferociously protective, killing anything that came within 100 meters of their dens. Yet here was a human, a member of the species the galaxy considered dangerously unpredictable, sleeping peacefully beside 2 of the most dangerous predator cubs in known space. Arya stirred, and Kor's eyes snapped open, bright amber orbs that locked onto the rescue team with predatory focus. A low growl built in his throat and Tavi immediately woke, her smaller frame tensing for attack. "Stand down," Xyloth hissed to his team. "Do not engage." But before either cub could move, Arya's hand reached up, still half asleep, and scratched behind Kor's ear. The growl transformed into a purr. Her other hand found the soft spot beneath Tavi's jaw, and the smaller cub melted back against her. "Shh," Arya mumbled, her eyes still closed. "It's okay, babies. Just some friends checking on us. Babies." She'd called 2 apex predator cubs babies. Slowly, Arya's eyes opened. She blinked at the rescue team, then smiled. Actually smiled, as if armed soldiers discovering her in a predator's den was the most normal thing in the universe. "Oh hey," she said, her voice raspy. "Took you guys long enough," Xyloth found his voice. "Arya, how are you? What did you—" She sat up carefully, the cubs adjusting their positions to stay close to her. Their mother was injured in a rock slide. Crushed spine. I found them 3 days ago, hungry and scared. Mom was still alive, but barely. She was trying to move, to hunt for them, but she couldn't. "You approached an injured Shadow Maw?" Felk's voice cracked with disbelief. "I'm a xenobiologist," Arya shrugged. "I recognized the distress signals. She knew she was dying. I think she knew I was trying to help." She stroked Kor's mane. "I stayed with her until the end. Made sure she wasn't alone. After that, the cubs just stayed with me." "That's impossible," Xyloth said. "Shadow Maws are Protective, intelligent, social. Arya met his gaze. Not so different from earth wolves, really, or dogs. They understand intent, fear, compassion. She scratched under Tavi's chin again. Humans spent thousands of years learning to read predators. Learning to coexist, sometimes even to love them. Xyloth watched as Kor nuzzled against Arya's neck, the massive cub's purr vibrating the air. This was the creature that had killed trained soldiers, that had been marked as an extinction-level threat. What do we do with them? Velk asked. Arya's expression hardened. They come with us. There's a wildlife sanctuary on Arcturus Station. They'll be safe there, and I'll oversee their care personally. The Council won't. The Council will do what they always do when dealing with humans. Arya interrupted, her voice gaining an edge. They'll complain, they'll debate, and then they'll agree. Because we're crazy enough to sleep in a predator's den, and somehow that makes us the ones who can save them. She stood, and both cubs rose with her, flanking her like honor guards. Kor stood nearly as tall as she did, even as a juvenile. Besides, Arya added with a tired smile, humans have a saying, we don't leave family behind. As the rescue team escorted Arya and the cubs back to the ship, Xyloth realized something that would later appear in his official report, though the Council would debate its implications for years. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology, their adaptability, or even their stubbornness. It was their inexplicable ability to look at the galaxy's most dangerous creatures and see not monsters, but potential friends. And sometimes, against all logic and reason, they were right.